If you want to be the best, you must outwork the rest. It goes without saying, the greatest work harder than the rest. They train harder, they learn more. They put themselves through more pain, more failures, more no's, more rejections. If your opponent does 10, you do 11. If they do 11, you do 12. If they do 12, you do 13, 14, 15. Sure, some of the greatest have talent, but none of that talent would ever be realized as greatness if they didn't put in the work. On the other side, think of all those with little talent that have created magic with effort. Effort will get you whatever you want in life. Fighting spirit, that's what I'm talking about. That heart that you know is inside you, you just gotta let it out.
Being away from, family in general is tough, but you kind of have to understand the sacrifice you're making. It's a sacrifice for a better life for myself, for my family, for my kids. So, that's like the thing that my wife and I, we use. It's definitely difficult. The communication part is huge because, the time difference. I'm usually 7 hours ahead, or when I was in Italy, it was 6 hours ahead. France, the same, 6 hours. So it's like when my day starts, they're just going to bed, and then when my day is finishing, they're just getting going. But we make it work. We kind of like, I try to call in the mornings when my wife is when she's getting off work. Because she works overnight. So I kind of try to call her when she gets off work and talk to her during the drive home, and then when she get home, when she get the kids, getting them ready to take them to school. So it's kind of like the time we have in between me going to practice and her getting off work, and then in the evening, when I'm getting out of practice, that's when she's usually picking the kids up. So, we kind of call each other to communicate around that time, because I know at the same time she needs a nap before she goes to work. But it don't get me wrong, it's tough, but if you and your companion understand what the sacrifice is for, you can get through it. But don't get me wrong, it definitely gets difficult. It gets tough, not being able to see your kids night in and night out. You looking through a phone, and that's how they identify you as tough. But at the end of the day, you have to make a sacrifice for a better living. And now my kids are kind of at the age where they can understand Daddy it's away working and not just out of the picture. So we make the best of it.
It don't matter. Talking about work, I know you had a couple injuries during your 13th year career. The first one was your Achilles tendon. How'd you do overset that barrier?
Man, that was like the lowest of the low. Like I was really contemplating like retirement because I didn't know if I can come back from it. You know, it was just, you know, just sitting there with the boot on and not being able to move, and my kids asking, "Daddy, are you okay? What's wrong?" You know, and it's just like, it was tough because I've never been home at that time with them. So it's like they're in that age where they want to get up and move around, and Daddy can't move around, and Daddy is thinking about himself. So it's like self-pity, but at the same time trying to find a way to be motivated. But it's like I've never had no injury like that in my career. So it's like the first time I get it, it's like, wow, like, is this it? Is this how my career is gonna end? And then, you know, after about 3 months, it's like, all right, you're either gonna bust your ass to get back, or you're gonna have to think about what you're gonna do next. And I wasn't ready to let an injury deter my career, you know. So I worked my butt off for 6 straight months with grueling physical therapy from a guy by the name of Robinson Frias in the city, who I owe a lot to because he put me through the ringer and told me that, look, if you believe in me and trust in me and do what you need to do, you can get back. And man, in 6 months he had me back
playing. Big support system. Who do you think is your biggest fan?
all my life is, you know, it's always been my mother. You know, but you know, since I've been married, I kind of, you know, it's mom and my wife is like right there. You know, you know, but you know, it helps to have, you know, 2 strong women that support me and will do anything for me. You know, it makes the sacrifice I do a little bit easier, knowing that, you know, they got my back. But yeah, those 2 women are everything. You know, my wife, she really holds it down. You know, going through both pregnancies with me away and giving birth to our first child, my son, without me there, and then the second one getting pregnant, I come home and then having to be with the kids 24/7 while I'm away.
Yeah,
you know, to earn a paycheck to, you know, help us with living a good life. It shows how strong she is, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for her, for the sacrifice and going through all that and still being so caring and worried about if I'm okay, and when things isn't going right with me, finding the words to lift me up, even though she's by herself. Well, not technically by herself because she have her parents and, you know, around. So, but you know, to still be able to be the driving force in the family and hold everything down. And I'm truly blessed to have a great woman in my life.
I'm hating on Kanye right now. He's talking reckless.
He's not helping his cause. He can't keep using his sickness as an excuse. I think that's what more people is more mad about. Slavery wasn't a choice.
Yeah, he's wilding.
You can feel how you feel, want to support Trump, but like you can't say that slavery was a choice.
Everybody's always wanting to work on their craft so they can make it to the NBA, make it to a good college. What are some tips or some advice would you give to a person that put their name in the draft but didn't get selected? What was the mindset that you had? Because you was the go-to man, but now you just got shut down. How did that make you feel, and what was your next steps after that?
I mean, everybody, we all have the hopes of making it to the highest level, and that's the NBA. You know what I mean? But granted, every year is only 60 people drafted, and of that 60, maybe 45 actually, stick with a team. You do everything you can to put yourself in the best situation and have your best opportunity, but you gotta always have a fallback plan. You gotta understand it's a business. You gotta understand to make it in the NBA is all about opportunity and timing. When you understand that, if you don't get drafted and you know that you gave everything you had, and it just wasn't in the cards, you just gotta, you can't stop there. Life still goes on. You gotta find the next route. And for me, it was never about the G League. It was more so like I'm gonna go somewhere else and experience life and culture and go places that I've never been. So Europe was the next thing. Although, I had opportunity, I was very close. It came down to a guy who was a good friend of mine, D. Brown, who ended up getting drafted with the Utah Jazz instead of me. So, that was that. And then 4 years ago, I had another opportunity to play summer league with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I thought I played very good. I shot like 90% from the line, 50 from 3, 40 from 2, but they offered me to come to training camp, but with no money guaranteed, and I had a 6 figures deal on the table from Europe, so it was like a no-brainer for me. Coming from where I come from, no money versus some money is always good. I wasn't gonna pass up on money that I've never seen in my life, no one in my family had ever made in their life. So it was like, all right, I'm gonna take this route and then see what happens. And like I said, I'm here. But as far as for the youth, I would just tell them, like, as far as picking a college, go to a college that's for you. Don't go to a college just because the people in your corner is telling you to go there, or because it's a big school, they saying you should go there so you can have clout or street cred in the hood. Like, oh, yeah, that's my man, he went to Kentucky. That's my man, he went to X, Y, and Z. And then you get to that school and everything that they was telling you, and then you end up not playing. Now you're not happy. Now it's, what do I do next? Now you transfer. So now it's like, oh, he's a guy that goes to one place, can't stay committed because he's not playing. Then he wants to transfer somewhere else. So it looks like you're not a loyal person. You went here only because you thought you was gonna be something, and then when it don't happen, you run away. You're not a competitor. Now you're afraid to compete against better talent than you for your spot. So what should I do? I'm gonna tuck my tail and go somewhere else, and then I'm gonna play. But it's like, from the start, you shouldn't have did that. You should have went to a school that really wanted you and really could have used you to the best of your ability. But you're listening to the people that never played or never went past high school telling you, like, yo, you should go here, it's better for you. All because they're benefiting off where you're going more so than you are. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that got to walk through those doors. You got to be at that campus. You got to be there. They're going to be back home.
Yeah.
But you're there. So now when you get there and everything that was promised to you don't happen, but whoever told you to go there got what they needed, you're the one suffering. Now you got to pack up and leave and find the next direction. So I would just tell them, pick a school for you. Don't listen to everybody else, because you're the one that got to walk through them doors and live with that decision.
Love, yeah, we just shining. Rewind the track just to remind it, yeah. From Newark to BX to Queens, came back, man, we see who next, yeah. Toast to the kings, yeah. Toast to the queens up in here, yeah. The album name, damn, it's a poison.
So talk about the practices. Since I've been here for 2 days, we have 4 practices in 2 days. That's sometimes unheard of, especially during the season. I know during preseason you usually get the conditioning in, but it seems like in Europe they like to keep everybody conditioned all year round.
Man, that's the grind, you know. That's the grind that people don't understand. Everyone back home, they see that you signed for X, Y, and Z amount of money, but they don't understand like you're really earning that money. Like you have to earn it. They're gonna get everything they can out of you during that time, and you know, it's early on. It was a bit stressful, but as you get older and more mature, you kind of understand the purpose behind it, and you kind of just deal with it, you know. But early on, you ready to on the move. You want to practice and play at one speed. You don't want to be in there in the morning. You got individuals. You're doing weights. You're doing this. You're doing that, and then come back 4 hours later and you're doing a whole nother practice. So it's like, oh man, again. Like, didn't I just see you guys? You know what I mean? And it's like, enough is enough. But that's the European basketball for you. They feel like they're paying you, so they feel like they got to have you in the gym as much as possible. And sometimes it's overbearing, you know what I mean? But what you're going to do, this is what you signed up for. If you love the game, if you enjoy the game, like, you got to put the time in. And that's part of the reason why I've been able to have a 13-year career, because, you know, I love this game, I love the work, and this is a part of it. You got to put your mind to it and just go out there and do it.
How was, from the U.S., transitioning over to EuroLeague?
Coming from the U.S., everything you learned in college, high school, you basically got to throw it out the window, because over here in Europe, it's more of a possessions game. You know, back home, we all about the highlights, the up and down, blah, 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 fast break, the dunks. And in Europe, it's more like a slow, pack it in, grind it out type of game. And to be successful, you really have to be skilled. You have to have a high IQ. And you have to be willing to transfer your game from playing one way to understanding the European style of play, and with, like I said, it's more of a grinded out, half court, you know what I mean, type of game, and most can't do it. You know, there's been probably a lot more guys that's been more talented than me or whatnot, but they didn't have the IQ. They wasn't able to transfer their game, you know. You don't see too many guys in Europe average 20 points. So people say, oh, they don't do that. They don't score that much over there. Yeah, it's because the defense is more packed in and more physical. And if you score 6 or 8 points in a row, they're going to make sure that next shot you get, you're going to get a hard foul. You're going to get knocked in your butt to break your rhythm. So that was like the biggest thing. And then understanding, like, yeah, you might have been a scorer in college, but when you come to Europe, the vets is like, no, buddy. You're a point guard. You're here to make me look good until you earn your keep to be able to do what you do. And, you know, it's you know, if you're a hard-headed guy, you won't last. But if you're willing to, sit back and wait your turn and pick and choose and show that you're mature, you can succeed. And that's why I think I've been blessed to play 13 years. Taking care of your body, man. Early on, I wish I'd have known all the things I know now. You know what I mean? As far as like stretching and icing and doing those type of things, because they're so key. You know what I mean? If I'd have known that early on, it probably could have prevented, some of my injuries later on. But yeah, that's I would say those are probably the biggest. Just taking care of your body, eating right. Not all the McDonald's or the fast food, but taking healthier choices. Mm-hmm. And then just grinding, in the summertime, staying fresh and always working on your craft. Being able to adapt to anything that's new or any change in the game. Like I said, with me early on, it wasn't about the small guard. All the guards in Europe, all the point guards in Europe, basically was like 6'4", 6'5". It was only a handful that was 6 foot and under. So it was a big grind for that. So like that was a way to keep me motivated, because I knew I had to work that much harder because of the height disparity. And then now it's just all the guys are raw talent. They're very skilled, very quick, very athletic. But those are all things that's no longer my best asset. So, I kind of play with my mind, playing angles and space and understanding the type of person or player I'm playing against, studying film and being up to date with this guy, what he like to do best and what characteristics I lack, but I can make up with my mind, you know what I mean? And understanding that most young guys want to play fast. So if I'm able to slow them down and make them think the game, it'll be to my advantage because most young guys can't think past isolation, shoot, or what type of defense are they playing, you know what I mean? So those are the type of things that kind of help with me in my longevity and just being a true vet of the game, you know what I mean? Understanding that I'm not the same player I once was as a younger guy, that I'm more mature and I play at a slower pace and I see the game much slower than I did now, so I'm able to see things develop. Whereas when I was younger, I was, up and down, I got to get a bucket, I got to do this, I got to do that, But now it's more like a slow down pace, more of a Chauncey Billups type of style for me. So I would say those are probably the things that was the key for me. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to work for the next guy, because what works for me may not work for the next person. It might be another thing. It might be another trick. So, but as far as what helped me, those are the things that helped me, and some of the things that I could have done better early on that, could have attributed to me having less injuries.